Hello, and welcome to Pressing Buttons. I'm Hugo.
I'm Nick.
Another great week, another great episode coming at you. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. We want you guys to know that this Tuesday, August 22nd, we will be doing a live stream of Gamescom. You know, our good buddy Jeff Keighley sent us an email. He's like, hey, we want you guys to live stream this and get your community in there. And show some support. So we will be live streaming on our Twitch channel, which is Pressing Buttons GG, I believe. I don't even remember what our
No idea.
we are so bad at this. No, but
That's fine.
I believe it is Pressing Buttons GG. I don't know, because that's the problem with people having your name in a bunch of stuff, that you can't get the right one. Like on YouTube, we're Pressing Buttons Podcast. On Twitter, we're Buttons TV. So like we just have different names. So excuse me for that.
It's Pressing Buttons GG. I just looked it up.
There you go. That's why we need somebody.
Not because I remembered, but because I just looked it up on the website real quick.
So Pressing Buttons GG, we will be live streaming from there, from our channel. We will be sending out the link on our Discord. So if you're not on Discord, make sure you join us so you get the notification. And please come and support us. We always have a good time. Shout outs to like Felix and Kamui. They're always in there, you know, giving us shit and telling us how bad we are. But it's a fun time. So make sure you guys join us. Not expecting a lot out of it from what Keely said, but it will be a good time and we'll get to see some gameplay and bullshit around. So please join us. And then another thing for those that listen to us, I've talked about this in the past, but we've been meaning to do a little project where we involve the community into the podcast. We love our community. We love the people we game with and that listen to the podcast. So we've as we've discussed before, we want to do like a little segment that we're going to title Memory Card. And basically, Nick and I are going to come up with 5 questions, obviously mostly video game focused and people's time with video games since they've started playing video games. And we'll have the questions up on Discord so you guys can look at them when we bring them up. But basically, we'll just have the community. They can do like a short video answering the questions, or if they don't want to show their face on video, they can also do a bit of audio, and we'll put that on the episodes. We'll keep it to basically one memory card segment a month, so that way, you know, we don't overdo it and it doesn't become stale. So we're looking to do that. Look out for that on the Pressing Buttons podcast Discord. I'm like Pressing Buttons podcast Discord. Yeah, look out for that on our Discord, which you can get to by going to our website pressingbuttons.gg. So that way, if you want to participate, which we would want you to, we love our community, you can do that. Good.
Loved it.
And anything from you?
No, I just gotta brainstorm on these questions.
Yeah,
we gotta
come up with some good questions.
Gotta ask some hard-hitting questions.
Yeah. All right, so that does it for our housekeeping. Make sure you guys do that for us. We want the community to participate. We'll start off with some news on Call of Duty. Big news this week for Call of Duty 3. A lot of details emerge for the next Call of Duty. Obviously, Call of Duty, one of the biggest franchises, gaming franchises in the world, always doing gangbusters numbers. Big topic for the lawsuit that Sony and Microsoft had. So obviously, some official details for the sequel, for the third installment of Call of Duty, were released this week. We have some information on the game itself. It's a direct sequel to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the new one that came out last year. Continuing the storyline, you'll be chasing an iconic villain from the original, Makarov. There's a lot of information that you'll also be able to do zombies. In terms of the multiplayer aspect of it, you'll be able to bring your weapons from last year's installment into the new one. And also, there'll be bringing back the 16 original maps from the original Modern Warfare 2 that was released in 2009. So that's pretty good. I know a lot of people, especially myself, I was a big Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 fan in 2009, and I played a lot of it. And a lot of the maps were some of the best, and I know a lot of people love those. Also, in terms of multiplayer, they're bringing back slide canceling, which I know a lot of people missed, and the red dot minimap as well, which a lot of people miss, myself included. Like, if you're shooting on a map, you should be shown because, you know, you don't have a silencer or whatever. And then they'll be doing something new called open combat missions, which will let you kind of play the missions in first person as it is, but just give you a little bit more variety where you can go in stealth and use like the night vision goggles and do a stealthy missions, or you can turn around and just go in guns blazing and blow everything up. And then just overall, Call of Duty 3, this is the first direct sequel that they've done. Usually they kind of go like Black Ops, then Modern Warfare, then some World War II one, then Modern Warfare again. So it's definitely intriguing to see that they're going directly into another Modern Warfare. I know you played a lot of Modern Warfare 2 last year because you were doing something for a job. Did you enjoy it? I know it wasn't well received. For you, somebody that doesn't really dive into a lot of single player first person shooters, what do you think of that one? And any hopes for part 3?
Well, yeah, I just played Warzone. I actually didn't play. I don't think I played the single player. So it was just dabbling in Warzone a bit.
Or the multiplayer either?
What's that?
You didn't play the multiplayer either?
No. I don't know. I don't even remember. It's all the same to me. Which I think kind of goes into my next point, where it's just like I just can't get into this franchise. Like, I tried, just because there are some of my good friends who are really into it, and I thought it might be like a good, fun multiplayer thing to do, but I don't know. I just feel like I missed the boat on this franchise and just can't ever get into it. We did try playing. We played. I mean, I think you actually watched us play. We tried Warzone.
Yeah, you guys were not
for game night, and it was just like we're just getting immediately murdered by 13-year-olds, and it's just like it wasn't super fun. So yeah, I guess it's good. I don't know. It's going to be a free to play game, right?
Yes, the Warzone is still free to play. Obviously, the campaign and the multiplayer part, you still have to purchase separately.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I saw the announcement. I know it's a big deal, and yeah, it was a hot topic with all of the Microsoft and Activision acquisition stuff going on. But yeah, I didn't see anything that like jumped out. I was like, oh wow, like I gotta. As someone who tried playing it before, couldn't really get into it. I don't think there's anything really new that's going to compel me to give it another try. I think they're just trying to cater to people already really into it, or people who used to be into it a long time ago, by pulling in like a lot of these older maps and modes and things like that. But I don't think this one's for me.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you say that, because I do agree that they are kind of catering to the people who enjoyed the previous iterations, especially me. Like, I played Modern Warfare 2 coming out of high school, and one of my biggest accomplishments in multiplayer gaming, which I like to boast about, but whatever, I had a lot more free time, was that I was like ranked 42nd in the world in kills on Xbox 360 for Modern Warfare, the original one. So that was like a pretty big one. And with every iteration that they released after that, obviously Treyarch taking over and then Infinity Ward taking over, I started liking the series less and less. It just, the time to kill became really low, so you couldn't really play it. There was a lot of glitches. There was a lot of bad faith in terms of the features of the game, like the perks and stuff like that they didn't bring back, certain game modes. So I know a lot of the community kind of got turned away, and it's this whole new generation that enjoy it more, obviously, with the Warzone battle royale type mechanics. That's what everybody's enjoying more. But I've always been just a multiplayer, give me a map, give me an objective, or just give me team deathmatch. Give me weapons I can customize and perks I can customize, and I'll have a lot of fun with that. But like you said, the last couple of years I haven't really enjoyed it. I think the last one I bought was Modern Warfare, the remake, just because I was like, oh shit, they're remaking Modern Warfare, and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like I enjoyed it when I was in high school. So with this, it is very interesting. I know Modern Warfare 2 from 2009 was very hyped up, especially with the maps and everything that it did. So it'll be very interesting. I haven't really bought the Call of Duty in 2 years, so I don't know if this will be if it'll be enough for me and everybody else who's kind of moved on from these type of games and this franchise to kind of get back into it. So, if that's you guys, we might have to make a Modern Warfare channel on Discord. So we'll see if it gets enough hype. All right, moving on to the next bit.
We do have a Warzone channel.
Oh, nobody's ever really in it.
Just nobody plays it.
All right, hopefully it gets built back up again. Get some people in there. Moving on to the next bit of news. Destiny 2, baby. We've been talking about Destiny 2 the last couple of weeks, which I'm pretty sure Nick really, really loves. But going off of the episode a couple of weeks back that we did, where we talked about Destiny releasing a state of the game and the goals that they were looking to achieve for the year and how they hit those goals, if they hit the goals, what they wanted to look forward to. And, essentially for me, who plays Destiny obviously a lot, like my point of view was just them kind of showing what they were set out to accomplish for the year, if they hit those goals. But it wasn't necessarily an update to what they were going to do, because obviously on the 22nd, they'll be releasing a showcase where they will talk about the future expansions, future seasons, the future after this 10-year saga that they've been building up towards. But obviously the community was not having that. Everybody was really upset, saying that they didn't really say anything, that, it's a lot of bad will to the community in terms of them actually giving information. So one of the lead directors for the game, Joe Blackburn, released a 15-minute video on Tuesday, I believe, and it just laid out a bunch of information, good information, new information that I think a lot of the community really enjoyed. It focused on PvP, which was one of the main gripes from the state of the game that they didn't address. There'll be a new PvP-focused team to focus on the PvP aspect of Destiny. Destiny is mostly a PvE game, but the PvP aspect of it is really fun, and it's been kind of neglected for the last, I would say, 3 years in terms of patching it up quickly and patching up the guns and just making a balance for the games, which got a lot of people thinking that maybe they're just focusing the team on Marathon, which wasn't the case. They'll also be releasing a free map pack in 2024 with a bunch of maps. I don't know how many, they didn't specify, hopefully more than 4. They'll also be looking to communicate more with the community, but they're also asking for the community to not harass them too much. Obviously, they're one of the leads in terms of suing people that are harassing them. They're free to do, and I agree with them, so they can stop getting harassed. The toxic Destiny community is really, really bad sometimes. So I think this definitely helped a lot of people. It brought the community more joy. Obviously, it was a very intimate video. The guy did a 15-minute video, no script or anything like that, from his home, just detailing all of this, which I know the community really, really appreciated, just because it addressed a lot of their pain points, and it also kind of showed that one-on-one kind of interaction type of thing. Your thoughts on this type of outreach from a lead developer, a game director to the community, and do you think this reverses all the bad will that you were hearing before?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like this was inevitable. Like I think, was this a week or two ago in our episode where I think we were talking about just the state of the game format, and I don't follow this at all, so it's just based on how you explained that specific format and the content in it and what they were trying to get out of it. I was just like, why would they do that? And and to me, I feel like the more appropriate, or like the better format is kind of more like what Final Fantasy 14 does with how they engage with their community, where it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Like in several cases, they're talking, Final Fantasy will talk about some of the things where like they didn't meet fan expectations, or things that they have learned the community doesn't love, and they want to make better, and but it's bundled as a part of like a broader presentation around what they're trying to do with the game. So it's kind of like a carrot stick and carrot and stick type thing, as opposed to just a stick, which is kind of what it seemed like the state of the game thing is. And just given what I know about the broader Destiny community, like I kind of felt like that was a recipe for exactly what happened. So again, like not surprised at all that there had to be some almost like kind of like follow-up video explaining their decision-making process and why they were doing that. So did they shed any light on that format? Like, is that something that they're still going to plan on doing, where it's kind of this more retrospective format, and then also like there's like a separate showcase or whatever where it's more forward-looking and talks about the roadmap and things like that? Or
well, the showcase on Tuesday is definitely going to be forward-looking. It's going to wrap up the full saga of the Light and Darkness, which is what they call it, that they've been working on essentially for 10 years since Destiny 1, which I want to talk about more, but I'll save it for next week after we see the showcase and see what it says, because it is something very intriguing, where we have these live service games like Fortnite and Warzone and PUBG or whatever, where we have these live service games, but and in Fortnite's case, you do have different chapters where they do different things, but in Destiny's case, it's a whole narrative where like it's a whole world that gets affected and gets built and all that stuff. So I see those as two very, very different live service games, and that the fact that they're wrapping up this saga, you kind of want to nail it. It's kind of like making a sequel to a movie or the third part or whatever. You kind of want to nail it. So it'll be very interesting what they say on Tuesday, how they're going to finish, and then obviously the game, they see a future with the game. So what's next after this finale? So we'll talk about more next week. But obviously with the showcases, they do them every year to show the future, everything that they work on, new stuff, new iterations for the live service aspect of it. So I don't think it'll essentially be any different going forward. I think it was just that state of the game was like really, really bad, because it was more of like a script, and it didn't provide any feedback. It didn't ask for any feedback. It didn't provide anything, any sort of outlook for what they were working on. So I think that's what irked a lot of people, and that's why this was kind of necessary, and they did a good job responding to it. Like you said, the Destiny community is very volatile, because it's been out for 10 years, and you have your dedicated fan base. It's very hard to get into the game, as you know.
Can't do it.
Yeah, from
can't
trying.
do it.
How many times have you tried?
Not from lack of trying. At least 3 times. Like I probably have like 30 or 40 hours into the game. Some of it on PlayStation, some of it on PC. So it's, I feel like that's like a meaningful enough amount of time to try to get into a game.
No, I definitely
like,
think it is.
I just can't. Like, it just doesn't click with me. Like, I'm just like, what is?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's going on?
So it's
but I do enjoy shooting shit, but that only goes so far when you don't have any context and you can't get like into the gameplay loop.
Yeah. And the Destiny fan base is one of the strongest out there. Obviously, you have a set fan base. I believe it's like 200,000 people every time there's a new expansion or something like that. At least 200,000 people are always jumping on it, and then obviously more with new people coming in. So you do want to hold on to the that crowd, especially in the live service game era, where it's hard to come by to get players into whatever you're working on. So they're going to be vocal about it if they're not happy with it, and obviously with all the harassment that a lot of Bungie developers have suffered, they've been kind of hesitant to kind of do a back and forth with the community, which he did address in the little video blog, in terms of like we do want to be more open to the community, but you have to understand that the harassment is what kind of keeps us away, because we don't want that. So kudos to them, obviously, for doing this and kind of getting back on the goodwill of the community. And we'll have a lot more to talk about this in next week's episode once we see the showcase and what their plan is for at least the immediate future until they wrap it up. I guess it's going to be in February or March, which is usually when the big expansion wraps up. And then going forward from that, what their plans are. Because, you set out to tell this 10-year story. Well, the 10 years are up. And you want to, one, finish off with a bang, and two, have something for the future. So we'll see on that. And then one other thing that we want to talk about in terms of Bungie is Bungie's future. Bungie's overall, not just Destiny. Obviously, we know they're working on Marathon, which is a PvP, PvE extraction shooter that they released a trailer for earlier this year. And then recently, they released a quote on Twitter that they're working on a new project. Let me read this because it's just a very weird quote. One of our favorite incubation projects is a team-based action game inspired by several genres in a brand new sci-fi fantasy universe. It draws inspiration from fighting games, platformers, MOBAs, live sims, and frog-type games, wrapped up in a lighthearted comedic world. So they're working on something, and it'll be frog type, which is hilarious.
I do love frogs.
Yeah. And then they're also committed to a digital future without a return to office mandate. They put some postings for jobs, which, I appreciate. Obviously, with the pandemic lasting, well, whatever amount you think it lasted. Let's not get into that.
Whoa!
Obviously,
trigger warning.
We should have like a red alert. Trigger warning. But with everybody working from home, especially a lot of these game developers, it caused a friction in the gaming community where a lot of games got delayed, canceled. You had to switch the way everybody worked. And a lot of companies, obviously in the beginning, were doing remote working, but everybody's kind of wanting everybody to go back to the office. And now we see Bungie being one of the initial companies that are okay with people working from home. They feel like it's better for their employees and also for their work ethic and how their workflow for them to be okay with working from home. What do you think? Do you think this is the future of developers, where it'll be okay for people to work from home, or do you see that, or do you see this as a fail? Because we did with the leak of Grand Theft Auto 6, that was with people working from home. They were able to get into the files and just release all of those videos and all that stuff. Do you think this is a solid future?
I mean, I think it'll probably never be perfect, but I think maybe the leaking of stuff that happened just because of the newness of having basically your entire workforce working remotely, which is maybe something that every company was prepared for at that time. But I think if a company is really going to lean in on working remotely, I think that's something that they'll figure out how to address. Yeah, I mean, remote work is a real sensitive and touchy subject these days. I think it just depends on the company. I think there's pros and cons to it. I think what's more important is that the company just picks a stance and sticks to it. I think what's been super frustrating for I think a lot of people, including myself, is this when companies are changing their minds on remote's the future, and then months later oh, just kidding, we need everyone back. And then when they just keep going back and forth on it, I think that's very frustrating. And I think particularly with game development being so complicated, that has to be just infuriating if you're a game developer. So I think what's more important is if at a game studio they just be we're in person only, or it's hybrid, here's how that works, and they stick to that. Or if it's going to be remote only, that's great as well, but it stays remote only and they invest into enabling that at scale. But I think it's again, it just really kind of depends on the project. My own experience, when you're working on something that's brand new and requires a ton of iteration, I personally have found that to be easier to do when you're in person. So for like a brand spanking new game, I could see there being like a lot of value to being in person. If you're, maybe it's like a live service game that's like 5 years in its life. Maybe there's like certain portions of that, development maintenance that people can do from home just because they have like a pretty good idea of what they're trying to do. So I don't know. It really just depends. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I feel the same way as you. Definitely something that obviously with these new companies trying it out, it'll be a wait and see approach if it works or not. But the fact that two big companies like Rockstar and Bungie adopted it, or at least working in Rockstar's case, worked a good amount of it for it. I think it definitely bodes well for what other companies will do. Whenever you have these big companies like these kind of try something out, everybody kind of follows suit. So if it works, it works. If not, then no skin taken. You kind of just go back to what you were normally used to.
Yeah. I think where a lot of the tension is uh I think it's like hybrid, or there's like certain teams that can work remote versus need to be more in person. Like I said, I think needs to be like a lot more kind of flexibility. But I think what the issue is, it's like employees are like, it must be all fully remote, and then employers are more like, it must be all in person. So you kind of have these like, there's only two options, but I think the reality is, I think the solution is somewhere in the middle, and it kind of depends on the company, it depends on its culture, it depends on where its products are and its life cycle, it depends on the team you're in. Like, so I think there's like a lot of, it depends. And I think building like a work from home policy around like all these different kind of things, like I think it'll just take companies like a longer time to figure that out, because there's a lot of nuance and a lot of opinions to kind of hammer out. But I do think it's good. I like that Bungie is like putting like a clear, like, we're all in, this is how we're going to do it. And I think that's a good thing, as opposed to flip-flopping and changing their mind, which I know is pissing a lot of people off.
Yeah, somebody's got to try it. And then in terms of their games for the future, obviously Destiny being their stronghold, but they've always wanted to work on other stuff. Even when they were doing Halo, they always thought about doing something else. And obviously with Destiny being their main franchise, they've always talked about that they wanted to work on other stuff. I know you're a bit interested in Marathon because you played it when it was in the 90s or whatever, but the aspect of it being a PvP PvE extraction shooter is very intriguing, and it looks really cool. But also this new quote for the other game that they're trying to do, which is like gonna be more of a cutesy platformer, fighting game, MOBA, live sim, frog type. That looks very interesting. I'm excited. I like MOBA, so and I always think that they like throwing out wild ideas out there, which is what video games need to be doing. Like, the more wild the idea, the better, because that's what video games are. They kind of want to put you in a world, a very imaginative world where you could do different things. We don't want cookie cutter games that all play the same, because we're not going to enjoy that. We want new experiences. So I'm definitely hyped for whatever this frog type game turns out to be, and definitely hyped for Marathon. Your thoughts on these two new franchises that they're trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, Marathon, I think I mentioned before, like, I think it looks cool, so I'm definitely going to try it. I've tried to get into Destiny so many times, and I think I'm over that. So but I'm still, I still have a high regard for Bungie as a studio.
My goal is to one day turn this around. I have hope.
No, it's done, man. But I do respect the studio. I'm very excited about their new output. So I think, I'm definitely going to check out Marathon. the frog type, like what the hell does frog type game actually mean?
Well, we're still
So
trying to figure it out. I think they
I'm
just kind
interested
of
in that.
misspoke. They probably were trying to say something else. It was like, put frog type in there. Is this like a Frogger
Well,
game?
well, if anything, I do like this is almost kind of like a recipe for disaster, where it's like you're mixing in too many buzzwords into the recipe. So part of me almost thinks that they're like trolling
I
by
think
just
they
like
are.
basically listing every type of gaming mechanic or like genre and then saying frog type game at the end. So I kind of think like they're being trollish, and maybe that makes sense if it's actually like a comedic type thing. So because typically when games are pitched, it's like it's this game and it's this game and combined, and then maybe it's like maybe it's like three things, but this is like too many things. So I feel like I feel like they're kind of making a joke post, but I think it's cool. Like I think Marathon, it has a distinct style, but I think it has, you can kind of be like, oh yeah, like I could see that being something from like the team that makes Destiny, but it kind of seems like this will be kind of like a departure from all other output that they've done before. So I think that's cool that they're going to have the opportunity to do that, and I think that's exciting.
Yeah, the thing that I like about both things is obviously the multiplayer aspect of it, which they talked about in both things. One's a team-based action game, and then Marathon being a first-person team game, 3v3. I like both aspects. Obviously we're always looking for multiplayer games to play that we enjoy, and Bungie's one of those developers that they get it. And like you said, even though you haven't been able to get into Destiny, you do see why people are so much into it. So hopefully it doesn't take too long before we see what this frog type game is going to be. All right, moving on. We're going to be talking about Like a Dragon. For those that don't know, Like a Dragon is a official name of the Yakuza series. It's the direct translation from Japanese into English. That's why it got rebranded. They're now Like a Dragon. There'll be a new game releasing, Like a Dragon, The Man Who Erased His Name. It'll be releasing soon towards the end of the year. And Ryuga Gotoku, I hope I said that right, Studios showed a new preview of it. It's a new preview for the game. It'll be showing two new wait, is this? Damn it, we're going to have to fix this.
No, keep going. It's good. It's good.
Is this for not Infinite Wealth, right? It's for the Man Who Erased His Name, right? The fighting styles.
There's two fighting styles. There's kind of like the more action oriented fighting style, which I think is basically how it's always been in the Yakuza. And then there's this new one called like agent style, where it leverages more like gadgets. So he's like using explosives and drones and stuff like that. So
secret agent, man.
So I think, yeah, and I think if you see the trailer, there's like clearly taking inspiration from James Bond and those types of things with some of the like cinematics and things like that. So I'm actually, I've previously said I like the Yakuza games, but I generally get kind of bored by the combat system, which is the reason I liked Yakuza 7. I can't remember the name. The RPG, the first one with Ichiban and the RPG. Is it 8? You're on mute.
Oh, damn it. Like a Dragon 8, yeah.
Like a Dragon 8, okay. Yeah, that's right. So I loved like being, cruising around Japan and doing random quests, and so I always liked that experience. But with the more action-oriented combat system, I would just get kind of bored by it. I love the turn-based combat system with the Ichiban game. So I wonder if with this new Like a Dragon game where it's got two different combat styles, I wonder if the agent combat style will be something that I have more fun with. So just trying to be optimistic, but look, that could be more fun to me. The rest of the game looks really cool though. Like it seems like it's just an expanded version of all of the other wacky stuff that you do in the game with like side quests and arcade games and the cabaret game and all that stuff. So it looks cool. I think the final thing that we had here was they're gonna do like a special, what do they call it? Like special demo.
Yeah, where it's only going to be level for
wealth.
The level's only going to be in this. Like it won't be in the main game. It'll just be for this.
Yeah. So because I when did Like a Dragon come? It was like 2019.
2019. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my game of the year. So like I played the hell out of that game. I think I played it over 100 hours. So I was probably like 50-50 on playing Man from Nowhere, which I think is that what it's called?
The Man Who Erased His Name.
Man Who Erased His Name? Yeah, whatever. You know what I meant.
Whatever the subtitle.
The branding and all these, like, I can't keep up with this shit.
That's why I was confused. It's so many, like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, Infinite Wealth.
I think like a Dragon Gaiden. So I was 50-50 on it just because I generally play them or I'll buy them. I played a couple of them on Game Pass too, but I'll play them for a little bit, get bored. But still 50-50 interest. But I think because of this damn demo and it being like basically like exclusive content only into this demo that hopefully like kind of unlocks something in the full game when it comes out next year. I think because of that, I'll probably definitely buy it now. So because I'm a sucker.
Yeah, they got you. I was like, this is definitely. Because that was going to be one of my questions. Like, so are you? I know because we talked about this before. You had no interest in The Man Who Erased His Name, but because of this demo news, you were like, I immediately was like, oh, he's definitely going to get this.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I had no interest, but it was more mixed to probably not buying it, or I'm sure I'd play it at some point, but it wouldn't be like a day one thing. But yeah, this demo definitely sucked me in.
Yeah, and I haven't really played the RPG one, the Like a Dragon 8. I was a big fan.
How the fuck have you not played that yet?
Too many games. I will.
You literally just told me you're gonna play the Arkham games.
Yeah, I have.
Fuck this. Fuck that game. Play.
I have certain inclinations sometimes, so I'll play some old shit. But like you said, I'm more of a big fan of the beat 'em up aspect of it. The exploring the little Tokyo parts of it and how unique it is to Japan. And I know that you really enjoyed the RPG aspect of Like a Dragon 8, so that's why I've always wanted to play it, which I will eventually. And this is very exciting. And obviously, I think Kiryu is a very like one of those protagonists that you kind of can't forget because he does so many ridiculous things, as well as Ichiban, in the new protagonist. Like he's another crazy one. I think they do a good job of putting these characters that are memorable, which is really fun. And from the preview of the trailer, they have this hostess feature where they have like live action hostess mini games, which is like, I think, ridiculous. I'll put a link in the show notes so you guys can experience it yourselves. But I think that kind of like wowed me the most, but at the same time kind of frightened me the most because it should be rated M for mature. Because you got these Japanese hostess and you're gonna be playing video mini games. They're gonna be exercising. They're gonna be in the pool. I'm like, this is a different type of game. This is like Leisure Suit Larry over here.
Yeah. No, I was absolutely thinking. It's like Leisure Suit Larry, but with like live action. So I think it's the first time they've had live action models in this game.
Yeah, so
I can already tell this is going to be like a big memeable, which I think maybe they did this like on purpose, but it's like there's going to be a lot of like memeable shit that comes out of that for sure. But they've always had some version of this. They call it like the cabaret.
Oh yeah.
I played all those mini game.
Yeah, I played all those mini games, but it's live action now.
This is a very extreme version of that. So yeah,
it's gonna be really funny. This is definitely gonna sell a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so that does it for the Like a Dragon preview. Hopefully, you guys get interested in the series. It's a great series, and you guys pick it up. Let us know what you guys think of it. Moving on, we're going to be talking about Gamescom. So, obviously, Gamescom opening night is Tuesday. We did discuss at the beginning of the episode that we will be live streaming it, but we're going to be setting some expectations from what Jeff Keighley says. They'll be showing basically just information on the games that will be releasing in the next 12 months. So nothing really new. From what they said, no surprises. You never know. Somebody might surprise us. I don't know. But don't go in looking for something completely new. They'll be focusing on Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Crimson Desert, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Lords of the Fallen, Sonic Superstars, and Zenless Zone Zero. So definitely a lot of and many more. Definitely a lot of very interesting games that we've been looking out for the future for 2023 and 2024. I'm very interested in Black Myth Wukong. I've seen a couple of videos that have leaked from there, looking very interesting for those Soulsborne type games that we like, as well as more Lords of the Fallen stuff. And Cyberpunk 2077, after the big resurgence from the patches and how well it's been doing, and how much the people like the game and the world, definitely very interesting, especially because it's so close to release. And then Zenless Zone Zero from the Hoyoverse, the new game. I think that's the one that we talked about before, where I've been interested more than Genshin Impact and what was the other game?
Star Rail?
Yeah.
Honkai Star Rail?
Yeah, Honkai Star Rail. I think if I get into any Hoyoverse games, it's going to be Zenless Zone Zero. So very interesting aspect of it. Which ones are you excited for to get more information on?
Probably Zenless Zone Zero. I think this was maybe like 2 years ago or a year ago, over 12 months ago.
Yeah, it was like a year ago.
Hoyoverse did. I think they.
Well, they did. They announced it Summer's Game Fest last year. But
okay,
they did the showcase that you're going to talk about.
Yeah. But I think it was at that same event they did both Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero, and I think at that time we were like, oh, Triple Z looks way cooler, which I still agree. Like I think I'm still, even after playing a ton of Honkai Star Rail, I think I'm still more interested in Zenless Zone Zero. So I'll never be able to pronounce it correctly, but the game looks cool. So
Triple
hopefully
Z, baby. Triple Z.
Disease. So yeah, I definitely want to see more from that game. I think probably the same as you. It's that. That's probably the one I'm most interested in. Maybe second would be Wukong, just because I think they've shown a couple fairly extensive videos, but I think it'll be good just to see more from that. It looked like very like technically speaking, like it looked like incredible. So
yeah, hopefully it plays amazing.
Maybe the game looks even better now. We'll see. So I want to see more from that, and then maybe Cyberpunk's in third, just because I think it's coming out like.
I believe it's in September.
In September, yeah. So to me, it's just like, okay, yeah, it'll be cool to see something, but I'm already gonna get it, so I don't need too much to convince me. So I was one of the few who had a great time when the game came out at launch, and I completed the game rather than immediately going back into it with like a different build or whatever. I was like, I'm just waiting. There's a ton of stuff for them to fix and improve, and so I was basically waiting until next month when they're going to have their first big DLC. And from what I've heard, like very significant updates to the base game as well. So hopefully it'll be like a pretty fresh experience, and then of course with the new DLC there'll be a lot to play with as well.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a run one of these days for Cyberpunk. Obviously, I did the same thing. I beat it. I was a bit disappointed just because of of how I thought it was going to be and what it turned out to be. Still a good game, just not what was, I believe, promised. But I was waiting for like the full patch and just do a new run because I really enjoyed the game regardless. As far as surprises, I don't expect any because, Jeff Keighley has said that, everybody temper your expectations. We're not going to announce anything. I do think, they're not going to announce anything new. I do think we'll see surprises in terms of, I can totally see like Kojima jumping in there and maybe doing a trailer for Death Stranding 2 or something like that. Jeff Keighley's definitely a big friend of Kojima, and he always likes putting his stuff on anything he does, so I could see something like that happening. Or just any titles that we haven't heard from in a while. I can see something like for the Suicide Squad maybe showing up just because it's going to be releasing early next year or anything like that.
No way, dude. No way.
I need something, man, because that was that's the one I was anticipating the most this year, and it got pushed to next year.
Soon. I think it's too soon after them kind of like
putting it away,
resetting the game. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I could see that. But also with a lot of the studios, the European studios, I can probably see that too. Maybe some announcement more for Witcher stuff or CD Projekt Red or something like that. So in terms of new stuff, I don't think there will be any, but I could see some surprises for stuff that's already kind of been discussed, just more information on it. Do you think anything?
Yeah, I still think there will be, there'll be some surprises, I think. But yeah, maybe it's nothing like earth shattering. But yeah, I know, I think Keighley's doing the right thing where he's trying to temper expectations, and the show is mainly going to be about just deeper dives into existing titles. That's like what I would have. I think that's what I would have expected anyway. Like I don't like Nintendo isn't going to say anything until next year. Allegedly, like trying to gear up for their next console. I don't think PlayStation historically, they don't participate too much in Gamescom, and they've increasingly just kind of done their own thing. And then I think Xbox, maybe they have some stuff, but I'm not expecting too much from them either. So I really feel like, and again, we've had this conversation really with all these like giant game showcases. It's kind of like, what is the purpose of these things when all major platforms are kind of building marketing and promotion, channels. So I don't know. It's tough. Like I do feel like Tokyo Game Show, maybe just because like, the Capcom and, Capcom, Square Enix, so that's like their home territory. Like maybe there's like some cool stuff that they keep for Tokyo Game Show, but I don't know.
Yeah, in terms of showcases, I just think, like you said, Tokyo Game Show would be the big one for all Japanese publishers to kind of showcase anything, any big announcements. And then the next one you would see would be something like the Video Game Awards, where they usually announce something new, unless Sony does something.
I think that's where we'll see the next Death Stranding thing.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's going to be a busy September and a busy October. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of heavy hitters getting released. Obviously, we have Starfield right off the gate, Mortal Kombat. We're going to also have The Lords of the Fallen. We're also going to have Spider-Man in October. So the next 2 months, and even the end of this month with Armored Core coming out, like, it's insane. There's going to be a lot of games for us.
I mean, I don't need anything else to come out for the rest of the year. Like Baldur's Gate is that beefy of a game.
Yeah, this is the year that was promised, and 2024.
Yeah,
2024.
I mean, this is making up for like 3 years of.
Well, 2023.
Like 2 years.
Yeah, we thought 2023 was going to be the big one after everything got kind of pushed back, but apparently not. It was 2022 we thought was going to be the big one, but no, it was 2023.
It's this year, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that does it for us for the news of the week that we wanted to talk about. We're going to move on to some closing thoughts. So I'll start off. Like Nick alluded to in the episode, yes, I've been bored. I finished Atlas Fallen. Good game, very short compared to what I'm usually used to in those type of games, especially playing the Surge and the original Lords of the Fallen. Collected a lot of stuff. It was enjoyable. The combat was enjoyable. The setting up your character with perks and stuff was really, really enjoyable. I just, thought it was very short. So that's why I dug into a catalog. I went on cdkeys.com, where I usually go hunting for games, and noticed that they had the Batman trilogy for $7. So I was like, let me buy this. So I ended up buying the Batman trilogy. Got to figure some stuff out because it doesn't look good. I mean, it looks good, but it definitely looks like
Still haven't fixed it. Are you playing the first one? You're just gonna go in
No,
order?
yeah,
Or?
I'm gonna go in
Okay.
order. It looks good.
Dude, just fucking get a refund.
I can't get a refund.
Okay. Well, we spent like what, $5 or something.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. So play Yakuza like a dragon.
All right, let me finish my Batman stuff. So it looks good, but it just looks like a 2009 video game, which I think when it came out, or whatever year it came out.
Yeah,
So-
there's a reason for that.
No, but it still looks, because remember that game, like, it looked really good. Like, Rocksteady did a great job in how the characters looked, with the Batman obviously mythos, like how everybody looked and the unique take on characters, which is why I'm still waiting on Suicide Squad. But the game still looks really good. It just looks like an older game. So I have to figure out and see if maybe I could make it look better, if there's any mods or anything.
I'm sure there's mods. There
Yeah.
must be mods.
I'm not a big mod person, but I want this to look better. And I'm enjoying the game. I played like an hour of it. I'm like, oh shit, I remember why this won Game of the Year when it came out. I also purchased is it Ghostwire?
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah, is that the one that we were talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghostwire Tokyo, which is a first-person based game where you're in Tokyo and you're using your powers to defeat these yokais. It was made by, I forget the name of the studio, but the ones that did...
Tango Gameworks.
Yeah, Tango Gameworks, who did Evil Within and who also released Hi-Fi Rush this year. Really fun game, but there's definitely a lot of problems with it. I'm glad I only spent like $5 on this as well. It's not as smooth, which kind of makes me think of Immortals of Avium, that's releasing, I believe, next month from EA, which kind of has the same concept where you're shooting magic from your hands and how that's going to work. But Immortals of Avium actually looks good, like it's done right. So very interesting. The game's enjoyable, just the magic throwing from your hands kind of thing doesn't work as well. And that's it. In terms of TV and movies, I've just been watching old stuff. I've been watching Psych, one of my favorite shows, though you guys don't need to, I'm not going to go over that, but if you haven't seen Psych, you should definitely see it. And then in terms of movies, I'm going to go watch Blue Beetle yesterday, which we'll be releasing a little clip of us talking about this on our Discord, so make sure you guys check that out. But I'm going to be watching Blue Beetle tomorrow. I've been hearing good things about it, and I really want to check it out. Who knows, if I have a lot of free time, I might sneak it into some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well. So we'll see.
That's the move.
I've watched 2 movies in one day many times. So who knows? What about you? What you been up to?
Baldur's Gate.
I knew it. I mean, I
Baldur's
knew it because
Gate.
you've told me, but also
I'm deep in it, man. I've played the game for over 70 hours at this point.
Wow, that's a lot. It's been a while since you've done that with one game.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Elden Ring was the last one, I think, that you
Elden
put
Ring?
that much. Yeah.
I think there was another game. I think there might have been one more game after Elden Ring where I put in a ton of time. I would need to look at my records though, but either way, yeah, like I'm putting a ton of time into this game, and I feel like I've just got to the first like big city like yesterday. So it's like, and there's just so much shit to do. So it's like there's just so much you can do in this game. It's unbelievable, and I'm already like envisioning like what my next playthrough is, of just like, okay, well, I can do completely different characters, have a completely different party, completely different path to like play through the story. So it's like the amount of optionality in the game is basically like unmatched versus like any other game that's ever existed.
You haven't even finished your meal and you're looking at the next plate.
Yeah, but like, yeah, like that's. I think you kind of like almost need to have a plan. Like now that I kind of know what's going on, you're kind of like planning like the next, and even like as I'm playing the game, I think there's a lot of people talking about like save scumming and re-rolling and all that stuff, which I've been doing shamelessly. Like I'm gonna like I'll look it up like once I beat the game, like how big my save file is. Like I'm sure it's gonna be taking up an insane amount of space because I'm just like saving like crazy all the time. And if I don't like the outcome in that conversation, I'm like going back and checking out the other. But even doing that, there's still just like so many other completely different paths that you can do. So it's just it's an impressive achievement. Like I think and I think I've already said a version of this where it's like when you think about what is a role playing game, like this is the best possible example of it. Yeah, so I'm just having a really good time.
Yeah, I have no inclination to play the game, but I will say this from everything I've seen online and, obviously you playing the game and how much you're enjoying it. I think it looks great. It's playing great. A lot of people are enjoying it. I just feel like for me, at least, it's too much. So I don't want to really get into it, especially because I'm looking at other things that I want to play with Armored Core coming out. And then, I want to give myself enough time. And also with, Destiny new season coming out and all that stuff. But I can definitely see like why everybody loves it so much and why it is in the running and probably in a lot of people's top game of the year, why it's probably going to win the game of the year depending on what Zelda has to say about it and Spider-Man, but it's definitely like strong contender for a lot of people's game of the year. So good game. We did play Remnant too, so that was pretty fun for a little bit, even though we were lost for like the first 20 minutes figuring it out.
I just suicided so that you had to figure out the puzzle.
Yeah. it definitely, and I know you guys that are listening to us have that feeling where you haven't played a game in like a week or two and you get back into it and it's like, what the fuck were we doing and what are we supposed to do? So like, yeah.
It was still a good time. I feel like
it was fun.
That did happen, but at the same time, I still feel like it was still pick up and play, and
so
we had a good time. So yeah, I'm enjoying that. I think it's whenever we can find the time, get through. I have no idea where we're at in the game. Like, I think we're probably halfway done.
Yeah,
I think we're almost done. Okay.
I think we're close. We've opened like 6 worlds, and I think we just gotta find the right bosses. And in our defense, because we enjoy the game so much, we have been going off the beaten path and doing different little dungeons. Like we're not just going straight to the objective. We're doing multiple things. So which is what we wanted. It's a fun, enjoyable game.
We're both completionists, and you being an even more extreme completionist than me.
Yeah, that.
But I think in our heart, we're both completionists, which, going back to Baldur's Gate, is almost like a curse because it is literally impossible to be a completionist in that game. Like it's just like I don't even know if you're able to like even do that in your in a lifetime.
You should have seen me playing Atlas Fallen, just collecting dumb stuff that I didn't really need. I didn't have a need for collecting, but I was just like, oh, this is a thing I need to collect.
Yeah,
there's 10 of these things. But I've been hearing rumors that they're doing they might be working on a patch for crossplay, which is one of the downsides of it, where you can't crossplay with PlayStation or
Remnant.
Xbox. Yeah, for Remnant on PlayStation or Xbox. So hopefully they do that because I know they'll be releasing DLC obviously, and we'll want to get back into it. So hopefully they do that, and we can play with more of our friends.
Yeah, that'd be huge.
But shout out to the Pressing Buttons community. I know a lot of people have gotten it and they've been playing it and then they've been enjoying it. All right, so I
love it.
Yep, we love it. So that does it for us. Make sure you guys go to pressingbuttons.gg, join our Discord. We'll be doing the live stream on Tuesday, so you guys can join the community. Just get in there and talk some bullshit. And also, we'll be releasing the questions that we're going to be having for the memory card segment pretty soon. We'll be releasing that through our Discord, so make sure you guys are on there if you want to participate. We really enjoy your participation. And that's it. thank you for listening. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.